Welcome back everyone, Ronan here. Alright, today I'm putting together a bit of a guide as to what I've learned from my first playthrough. Maybe some things that I wish I knew before my first playthrough when I started the game, in hopes to help you out so you don't have to play 20 hours and then say, okay, I'm tired of this, it's not working, let's start over and do this right. I played on Ranger difficulty, which is hard mode, so these tips will definitely carry you through that mode of the game. Even some tips come from other players in the stream that dropped in some hints that actually would work out really well. My next goal now is to finish it on Supreme Jerk. I'll start that tonight, and I'll repost some thoughts or even just edit the video with those tips after the fact. Let's get started because I tend to talk a lot. Alright, it doesn't matter the difficulty you pick to get started, just know that friendly fire on, off, you know, this is a lot more HP, and I think it just keeps going a lot more HP. You may even take more damage. Custom settings only does you this. It doesn't really change anything else. Friendly fire is the only thing you can change. Get used to the load times. They suck. Now you just got into the game, you're getting ready to start. First tip, don't use these. Don't use any of these characters. I thought maybe they would give out some storyline, so I started my first run by using... What? We're doing this live. Sorry about that. I clicked select despair. Don't do that. I thought they maybe, like Divinity Sin 2, they would give you some storyline. They don't. So these are totally just custom characters that the devs made, and they're shit. And the reason why they are shit, you may think that you don't want to play with a quirk, but you definitely want to pick a quirk. There's no reason to not pick one. I know there's a downfall, depends on your build idea. If you have no idea what you're doing, I would still suggest pick a quirk. It makes your ranger stand out. So I had picked father-daughter. I thought, oh, maybe it'll be something in the game, in the world, you know, story-wise. Nothing. Like, all you get is like this background that you can pick anyway, and doesn't really help your character that much. Maybe it helps her, you know, but if you're not sure of a build and you want to create your own and you don't want to look at too many guides, but then you're already here, so thanks. No reason to not create custom. I played 20 hours on my first run, and then I said, screw this, I'm going custom. So we're just gonna do one character for this. Oh, we'll play around with the stuff. Identification, put the name you want. Grunt, fine. Male, female, you know, self-explanatory. You can put a female with a male voice. It's always awesome. Okay, first thing is background. Think about your character and their background. If you want to go for min-maxing, look at what you plan on making the characters for. All you have to do is go over them. Some good ones is goat killer, especially if you're making a sniper. So those original characters have some specific things that may only be good for them anyway, for the backgrounds. Some of these don't transfer over, but I think Sex Machine and the one that the father had, I guess he's a sex machine. Creepy. Okay, well that's how he ended up with a daughter. I just hope that's not how he ended up keeping the daughter, because that's wrong, Wasteland. Pick what you think fits with your build. I would go with something that is either percentage based or, you know, not like just one perception. One perception, you get perception from so many different ways. This I feel is a bit weak. Experience bonus, sure, but it's not that good anyway. That's maybe the equivalent of 2.5 charisma points if you really want to go that way. Something like crit chance. I know there's lots of ways to increase crit chance, but crit chance makes a big difference in this game. Bookworm is fine for now, but that's not what I'll be using. Actually, I will probably never use Bookworm. Appearance, all you have to do really is select a portrait, and you're done. Unless you want to really work on your characters, that's up to you, but that's not part of this guide. Starting weapon. So this is where you kind of think about your build after you've picked your background, what you think you'll be using. This just means what you start with. Doesn't mean you have to keep going with that weapon. It doesn't give you any points in that weapon. I would recommend staying away from melees if you play on hard or up. It's just hard to start to get you done. It's not impossible. It's just harder. You're making it harder on yourself to get to the Ranger HQ. So I would pick assault rifle, anything. Okay, you can't pick a flamethrower, so that's fine. So every weapon will give you a machine gun, and anything is fine. Sniper rifle is really good. But any of these. The melee ones are just harder to start. For now, I'll make a sniper rifle. Attributes. Okay, this is where it can get confusing, and there's a lot of misinformation online. A lot of people are posting this information based on what they knew from Wasteland 2. It doesn't work like that. Now, I'm not going to go over all the stats because I didn't win for Wasteland 2, and they had a lot more depth to the character building. But this way, it's a lot easier. Broad strokes would be coordination is for your AP usage. Literally, it says it right here, and if you hover over, it just tells you what the changes are. Most of the stats increase something better on the even number. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. And at 10, you usually get a bigger increase. Coordination is the only way currently to get more AP out of the stats, unlike Wasteland 2. One thing I wish that they would have added, instead of just 10 with nodes, that you'd actually see the number for a quick reference. Because sometimes when you're at 7 or 8, you're like, okay, wait, what am I at? You have to count. And it's not a big deal, but it'd be easier if you just had a number reference right on the side. Luck is actually really good. It used to be garbage. It's a really good stat. You see lucky action chance, you're like, what is this? So you get a spare action, you get a crit, you get a mega crit, evade chances. All of these things are based on luck. Now the more points you put in, the higher it goes. I mostly played with luck on most of my characters. I would recommend this being one of your main stats. No matter what the character is, everybody benefits from this, whether it's extra attacks, extra dodge, extra everything, and plus you get penetration. But in total, +6 can make a difference in how much damage you're dealing to the enemy, especially if they have high armor and you're using non-elemental weapons. Yeah, perception, range damage, and hit chance. My first character was a sneaky character with a melee weapon, so this is why I restarted, because this didn't make sense to boost this for perception so you can detect all the mines, whatever you see, traps, alarms. And then he was melee, so the ranged weapon damage is 35, but that didn't help my melee character at all. This is really good for anybody that uses any guns. I wouldn't boost it for everyone to max, but you can definitely put in at least, let's say, 4 to 6 points easily. And then once you've boosted other things, because it's more or less of a balance in this game of what you're going to be leveling, so you can come back and level it out for anybody that uses guns just for the extra damage percentage. One thing to note though, the game has a cap of 95% chance to hit on the enemies. So even if your sniper has 150% chance to hit, the enemy has maybe, let's say, 10% chance to dodge or cover, you're still only going to get a 95% chance. So don't look at this as being, oh wait, I need more hit chance. There's a soft cap or hard cap of 95% chance to hit. So you can basically, like D&D, you could roll a natural 1 and critical fail. That's pretty much how that works. It just seems that critical fail happens quite a bit, at least for me. Strength, melee characters basically, and HP. Don't overlook this too much, although on Ranger, even though I had, let's say, 5 or 6 strength, my characters were still getting 1 hit. I'm not sure how it's going to be for Supreme Jerk, but don't overlook this stat. Even though you're not going to be doing melee damage, you are going to be needing this for equipment. Most of the gear I saw was probably in the 5 to 6 range if they had a stat linked to it. There's a lot of gear that is actually pretty good for you but doesn't have strength tied to it. But the few pieces that I did find, the high-end gear, is about 8 to 9 strength. If you're doing a melee, this is a must. Every 2 levels, this is where you're getting the con per level. And it is retroactive. I did test this. So if you're level 20 and you decide, okay, I'm going to finally put my 3rd point in, you're going to get an extra 60 HP just from that 1 level. So it's something to note, because if you look at it, it can be confusing. It says con plus 10. The next level, it's con plus 15. That's not exactly true. It's really plus 5 from the last one. And then per level is plus 3. It didn't change. So what ended up happening is it only changes once you hit the next node, and it changes from plus 3 to plus 6. You're just adding the difference. I think if they would have written this a bit better and less confusing, especially for new players, to say plus 5. Instead of plus 10, it should be plus 5 again. The next level, plus 5. So every level is plus 5 up until plus 75 when you put your points here. You're not going to get... Like here, it's a 30-point difference for that last point. But you're not going to get 75 on top of all these HP points. You're only getting the difference from one level to the next. I think they could have changed that and made it less confusing. Alright, while I was editing, I noticed something, so I decided to go back, and I figured maybe it's just because my points were all in here that it would just show plus 5, plus 27, plus 35. It's not true. So if I put a point here into max, if I look over, it'll just show me plus 9. So I put a point, when I go over to the next level, instead of this one, it still shows me plus 1. So it's almost like it shows you an extra AP every time you put a point. That's not the case. It's every second point. And the only way you notice it is because you somehow have to know you're maintaining that plus 2. That these points in total give you that. but you can definitely be confused in any of the stats that show you, oh, if I put a point now, it's +2 penetration. And if I put another point, oh, it's another +2. In the future, what they need to do is just show you, because here from level 1, you get +3 resistance. And then on the next level, you're like, oh, now I get +6 and an AP. And then on the next one, you get another AP. And then it changes and you get more. On this level, technically, in theory, it almost seems like if I were to go to level 4, I would have gotten 1, 2, so an extra 4 AP. But it's not the case. It would be broken. It would be OP for sure. But the same goes for every stat. You're not going to get 10 HP on this one, and then on the next one you get 15. No, you're only getting 5. Hopefully the clarification makes sense. It doesn't matter if you go and take it. The next level now is +20. It should say here in the corner, it should just say +5. And it should just give you what you're getting for that level. Don't show us what comes before. Speed, basically it's how fast you move, but not just that, your evasion. I was overlooking this stat quite early in the game, and probably most of my game I didn't put many points because I'm like, well, I don't need to move. Why would I need to put points if I'm not moving? I'm just shooting the enemy, because there's lots of places you don't have cover. But really what you should be looking at is also the evasion and the initiative. Initiative is not such a big deal because you should be, for the most part, getting the first turn. I found that on Ranger, if I wasn't getting the first turn, I was getting my ass kicked really fast. Initiative comes into play is if you're not getting the first turn, your characters can roll for initiative and hopefully at least a few of them can go first. Maybe run away and hide and survive one turn. Intelligence. This used to be the main stat of Wasteland 2, and I think there's a lot of controversy right now. A lot of people in my streams are coming in and saying, this is broken, why isn't it working? They re-roll and they re-roll and they're like, okay, I think it works this way, but it doesn't. Here it says gain +1 skill point every 2 intelligence. Every level you get 3 skill points. On the exception, when you start the game, you should get 4 because you have 2 intelligence. So right now I would get 4. If I put 2 more, I would start the game with 5. It doesn't mean you're getting 5 every level. You just put the second point, you got the skill point now, but that's it. It's a one-time thing. It's not reoccurring. It's not every level like in the other Wastelands. Some people would put like a full 10 int right at the beginning just to get that bonus, and you don't need to do that anymore. What's really nice here is your crit chance, crit damage goes up, crit heal, and crit heal bonus. So you want this pretty high on most characters because the crit chance ends up being +25. By the end of the game, I think I maxed out 3 to 4 depending on the character and how spread out some of the stats were. And I ended up finishing the game around level 26, 27. If you really want to start with more skill points, then yeah, maybe put 2 points into int. If you don't really care right out the gate and you're okay with 4 points, then just put your points other places. Charisma is your throwaway stat for most people, but not really. One thing they give you is strike rate. Strike rate is like your limit break. The faster it builds up. The main thing that it affects is your leadership range. The higher you put the points, the further away your characters can be to be affected by leadership. Fine, you do level faster if you have some charisma, but I would say it's not needed unless you're making your leadership character. So for me in this case, I'm gonna put it down. I said I'd make a sniper. You cannot go to 0. If I'm making a sniper, I at least want to make sure I can probably move at least 1 tile and shoot. Right now, I won't be able to move more than 1 tile per AP because of my low speed. All right, I would put some awareness and luck. I'm gonna leave the strength as is because I know my sniper is always gonna be behind or like farther away. So I'm not gonna use the speed, I'm not gonna give some strength, and I'll look. I don't have any other points. The reason why I went to 2s is to get the other bonus. I get the extra AP, I get the extra penetration, and I get the extra perception. And then int, I get the extra skill points. So that would be a quick rundown of these stats. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. Now, for other classes, it could be very different. If you do want to make a melee build, strength, speed, luck would be your main goal here. Coordination maybe a little bit, but it doesn't have to be right away. It all depends on your quirks and your background. Play around with these, but I'd say this is a pretty good start if you really wanted to. And you didn't believe in luck, but I'm telling you, luck is really good for extra actions. You could go like all out in. Some people, that's what they're doing, and they think they're getting all of the points, but they don't. You have to read this part. You only get it once. That means you should be getting about 25 before the end of the game, 25 more points that you can factor in where you want to go. Okay, this is where it can get a bit complicated because they don't teach you about perks either until you're in the game. So, I said I was making a sniper. That means I have to be proficient with sniper rifles. I might as well pick at least 1 point because you'll get a sniper rifle to start with. And if you're not proficient with it, you actually get negative stats. So it's not just a plus 3% here. It unlocks a certain level of weaponry that you can use. It's the same for every combat skill here. They all unlock a weapon. So automatic weapon is assault rifles, submachine guns. Big guns is flamethrowers and machine guns. Brawling is your fist. Melee combat, it's swords, maces. Small arms or pistols and shotguns. I actually like this because it's much better than it used to be. And sniper rifle is exactly it, sniper rifle. So other than brawling and sniper rifles, everything gets 2 weapons, which is nice because you don't have to double up on weapons. You just pick one, and that gives you a backup weapon already. And that's really important when you plan your team. Right now, we're only covering 1 character. You want balance. You want a group force, not one really strong character, and that's it. So you want to make sure you build 4 characters that complement each other in the game. So if you're going to make a sniper, don't make more than 2 snipers because then you have to share ammo. It's important to have different weapons for most characters. And from what I've noticed, most of the game you end up using 30-06 for your sniper rifles. And very late game, some 50 cal ammo for them. If you have 2 snipers, they're fighting for those bullets and they're pretty rare. You end up spending a lot of your money on sniper rifles. Now, you can go to 2. The reason why I would go to 2 is because of marked target. The limit break for sniper complements this really well. You'll be pretty much able to pick off elite units in 1 shot if you're lucky with a crit. Because this plus the sniper rifles limit break, and they all have the same one, precise shot. Sniper rifles have it, pistols have it, and assault rifles have precise shot. And then increases that damage. It's really nice. You can one-shot like 10,000 HP enemies with this if you're lucky. So I would go to 2 just for that alone. And the first 3 points cost 3. Then it's going to cost 2 points each. Then 3 points each. And then it goes up 4, 5, and then 6. It takes a lot of points to master 1. You don't want to spread yourself out too thin. I think 4... maybe 5 could be good if you want to master certain skills. In total, it's 28 points from 0 to full. Now, I don't really need any other skills right now because I know I'll be just using my sniper rifle for the most part. Okay, I would recommend a few things here. Don't make your sniper your explosive character. You'll be using your AP to shoot and probably one-hit a lot of things that are far. Because you won't be using a rocket launcher as a backup weapon. It's 2 things that cost a lot of AP. And you won't be throwing grenades. So you're better off not picking explosive. Better off with Animal Whisper. It's very low maintenance. I think 3 to 4 points by the end of the game. You can recruit almost any pet. And I think I'll be getting it on almost all my characters on Supreme Jerk. First aid. You could make your sniper your first aid character. But I would try to boost my sniper rifle up as high and as fast as possible because you can unlock stronger sniper rifles earlier. I went sneaky shit on a short range character. Now with my shotgun, it actually paid off by the end of the game because I could hit multiple targets with the same and it was actually devastating. This time around, I would make my sneaky shit character my sniper. You're the hardest hitting single target character. You're mastered it and you get lights out, you get plus 300% damage to the first hit. And with a sniper, what's nice is you can make your formation and still be far and kind of safe when you pull the enemies, when you pull the fight. You don't have to sneak in there trying to do something risky and then you have to sit through another loading screen because either it didn't work or somebody else got noticed, whatever it is. Weird science, good if you're getting elemental damage. So it doesn't have to be flamethrower. There's a lot of weapons that have elemental damage, like a machine gun I found that did fire damage, some that do cold. So this is definitely one you want to go with, and you can overcharge your guns to make more of that elemental damage. And all weapons have an elemental side to it. Armor modding, one thing that's nice is tender loving care. If you want to go that far, I would recommend making at least one person. But here's the thing. Separating your skills, they already did this for us. Between social skills, so into 4, but really should be different categories. I don't think they're well-placed categories. You should have combat skills. These, hands down, these are your well, not really. Explosives is a combat skill as well. So you should have these. Then general skills should have, a lot of them are used in combat as well. I'd argue that weird science is not an in combat, it's more of a passive boost. The reason why I say this is explosives is also linked to your rocket launcher. So it's not just general skills. I would say it's combat as well. Exploration skills is not needed. I'd argue survival may be more or less of a passive skill. I mean, weird science is linked to some gear, so. And then your social skills, I'd say barter is more like a civil skill in Divinity Original Sin. Hard ass and kiss ass are your dialogue options. Whether or not they're needed, that's up to you for your playstyle. And leadership, you'd want probably only one person to have, but it depends. The difference in this one is your leader only gives out buffs when you kill something. So you want your leader to be able to kill stuff. Probably a sniper is not a bad idea. Assault rifle or someone in the mid-range that can actually kill stuff. But it means it takes you away from your stat building. You have to diversify yourself a bit more because you're gonna have some charisma that's gonna take away some skills. Anyhow, the reason why I'm saying this, because when you're building your character, you need fighters, especially if you're gonna play on a higher difficulty. So this tip came from Scaly Willy, which makes sense. He mentioned it in the stream. I was thinking about doing it, but then he confirmed it for me. So you should only pick out skills that you're gonna use in combat on your main 4. The other 2 characters are from story and PCs, but they're PCs now. Like armor modding, maybe arguably survival, even toaster repairs. Like there's nothing stopping you from going back to zones later on and looting it takes more time, but looting these. But weapon modding, armor modding, barter, let's say. Those 3 skills you don't need to put on your main 4 warriors. When you go to your HQ, you can swap out to different heroes and pretty quickly. You find new heroes really fast. So those things, those skills could just be like garrison skills. So you swap out that target, then you do what you need to do with the, we'll call it the bank NPC that is learning all these things, these skills. It could be multiple. That way you don't make them fighters, you just make them modders. And then you do all your selling with that person in the team and then you put them back. Because bartering does give you a lot of money. And then that leaves your main 4 to do a combat skill or 2, depending, because later on for perks, whenever you upgrade these, you get these new perks. But you have to spend a point in those perks. So some weapons go well together. Like almost anything with small arms, you can have draw. It's a 7th level skill. When you reload, your next attack is free. But there's quite a few of them. You'd have to look to get them all, and maybe you can even build builds that I haven't even thought about yet because the game just came out, and that's how you're gonna get that better build. So what I would recommend is mechanic. You get to place turrets. I would recommend putting that on a class that is not your sniper. Whatever side gigs you can do in combat, not your sniper. You want your sniper to use most of their points in killing stuff. That whoever initiates the fight loses that AP for that turn. So it's something to consider when you're using a sniper to do this, because then you won't have the sniper on the first turn. This turn already got used up. With my character, I was able to use this for detection time, so I could sneak around and go see what was there and maybe make a better plan as to where to go. But often that character would get screwed and be kind of left alone for a turn or 2, and most often than not just die. Depending on which gun you pick or which weapon you want, it may be smart to use weird science, explosives, or even mechanics if you want to have different weapons, but not necessarily having 2 combat skills that are totally different. Mainly because some gear is locked behind it. Explosives, you're gonna have the rocket launcher. Grenades will hopefully do more damage, but they do crit if you get the perks. And mechanic, you get the turrets and drones and stuff. So basically what you want to do is spread out the exploration skills among the rest of your group. Have at least one of each. So that's explosives 1, First aid 2, you're gonna need that. Lockpicking 3, nerd stuff 4, mechanics 5. That leaves you 1 open for something else, probably toaster repair or whatever. And then that way it gives you a lot of other skills for later on in perks to be able to max out another skill or get some perks that you handpick for your class. To go back to town, it's easy. You can just click on the radio at the top and say you need a tow. It brings you right back to the Ranger HQ. I didn't really like Hard Ass or Kiss Ass, so I'm not really gonna play with them. I might play with Kiss Ass this time for roleplay, but you don't need them, to be honest, on your main character. At least, I think there's only 1 option I ever got to that you needed 10. Leadership, only for 1 character, for the leader, and that person's gonna have charisma. This is probably what people are most afraid with, is quirks. I know from Wasteland 2, I was that way at first. You want those quirks. They make a huge difference. Blunderer. So you do more melee damage bonus, but your crit chance goes down. I'd say not necessarily good. Crits are good. So that's a pretty bad skill, unless you have a weapon that does not crit, but does a ton of damage like consistently. Bot bag. I don't mind this one if you're not going to be moving. Plus 6 armor could do a bit of a difference, at least in the beginning. Near the end of the game, you'll need like the highest end armor, and you'll still be probably taking a pretty big beating. Might work on normal though. Circus Freak, you move faster. Crit resistance, less evasion. I don't like the less evasion, but enemies crit a lot, so if you don't plan on doing sneaky shit, the detection time won't matter for you either. It might if you use that character to move around. I would use my sneaky shit character to be the one that scouts. You'll have the higher perception and the least amount of chance to get noticed too fast if you turn a corner. Because there's a lot of blind spots in this game where you have to be in the room. If you have a lot of detection time, then you have time to run back out or even like run a gauntlet and find a safe spot to start the fight. Death Wish. I haven't tried this one. I wouldn't mind trying it. I'm just not sure who I want to have that much AP. And if it's worth it to have no armor of any kind. In theory, how armor works, I don't think this is a bad go. I don't think this is a bad idea at all. I'll have to try it, but the 3 AP is still pretty good. A pistol user, it's an extra hit. For a sniper, it might actually be an extra hit per turn. Depending on how much coordination you give that character. And it might save you actually 6 coordination. That's a lot of stats to save and put other places if you use this. Doomsday Prepper, status effects resistance. That's not bad. And there's no side effect. There's no downfall. So if you're really not sure, just get this. This plus a high coordination, and chances are you're not going to get hit too much with status effects. Lone Wolf, I didn't like it. Plus 20% initiative. I wasn't a fan, so I didn't get it. Medical Marvel. Love that skill. Plus 5 con per level. Which means by level 20, it's an extra 100 HP. Pretty good. That could be a quarter of a level for a quarter. I used it, and it said cannot be revived during combat. It's not a big deal. You probably won't die as much. The only issue is there's a bug right now. And then I think they have to die again from bleeding. Because what happens when you die and you're bleeding or burning, those buffs stay active, even poison. When you revive that person, if you give them first aid and they bring them back up, if you're not quick enough, they'll take fire damage. Well, they'll take that damage and die again. It's like they died in combat. They're stuck in combat and you can't res them. If you don't have the item, the proper item to res, you can't leave the area. And if there's no doctors in the area, you have to reload a save file that's probably further back. So you don't get yourself into that situation. If you do take it, always carry the, I think it's flash injectors, whatever they are, just so that you can revive that person once the combat is done. But it's really good if you're trying to make a tank. I would make it on my healer again though. I did put it on my leader though for me, so it kind of worked. But when they did die, I wouldn't be able to pick them back up. Mime, if you're going for detection time, I don't think it's a good idea. Minus 10 con is not a huge deal. Throwing range either, but you don't really need that much detection time, I found. Poindexter. I don't like this one. You'd have to basically be a sniper or never get hit because you'll lose so much HP out of this. You'll get one hit so often. I would recommend this just to get the +1 skill point every 2 levels. You'll learn stuff faster. Maybe you save up on int, but then again, you're not saving up on your crit chance and stuff. That's not good. Prospector, I think it's good. I got it. Quick slots are broken right now, so maybe take advantage of it for now. You can switch gear in combat whenever you want. The only difference is if you switch weapons from your inventory, you need to reload them. So that's AP right there. But if you want to switch your grenades for some heal kit, for a turret, and not have to worry about the quick slot, because they don't matter, you can just always do it in no AP cost. I think they'll change it. They should be balancing that out, and they sell for good money. You need money. You need a lot of money in this game to outfit yourself. Make sure you have the right supplies. Pyromaniac. I liked it at first, but I found that well, it could be for explosive damage as well, but I found that the flamethrowers were kind of weak. So if you're planning on making an explosive character, you could get this one. You have a chance of catching on fire. Plus 25 is nice for damage. Sadomasochist. I would argue this is the best single skill for a sniper. I don't know if I would put it on somebody else that has a chance of getting hit too often, but 33% more damage, either melee or ranged. It's too nice. You can't miss it. Serial killer. All right. Plus 3 AP for each kill in combat once per turn though. But I don't like that you lose an AP out the gate every turn. So unless you're killing something every turn, you're not getting, your money's worth. Well, actually, every second turn. Every third turn brings you even. This guy, 2 pump chump. Start the fight with plus 2 AP. Could be helpful. Most fights, I noticed, don't last more than 2 to 3 turns, I noticed, even on Ranger. So after 2-3 turns, you probably don't even have, if everybody has 2 pump chump, you probably don't even notice that you're losing the 1 AP after that for the 6 turns. You're not going to get that far. Although the aim might hurt you, might make you get that far if you didn't get it, but it's not like you're putting everything with this. It's only one character. And starting a fight with 2 AP plus the first 2 turns, that could mean 2 shots from your sniper or your explosives or whatever you're doing, or shoot and then move and be better positioned. So it could go a long way for this, because by the time that you're turn 3, you've probably already killed 3-4 enemies, so it's not even that big of a deal that you have less AP by 1. Varangian Blood. Alright. It says when an ally is downed in combat, Berserker Rage gaining 100% crit chance and plus 3 AP for 1 turn. This could happen a lot, actually. So depending on who you put that, maybe your tank or a character that can at least take a hit or stays back. Sniper could be good for this, but you have to wait for somebody to die. I'd rather Sadomasochist. Plus this, plus sneaky shit, you'll be hitting so hard, elites are going to drop in 1 turn, probably. Even on Supreme Jerk. Originally I picked Waste Roamer. I lost 15% XP. That 15% XP throughout the whole game was about 2 levels worth. Not that huge of a deal if it's 2 levels worth from start to finish of the game. I was like level 25, my sniper was level 27, that's it. But you can't burn, bleed, poison, shock. So this is really good for a class that's up close and that tends to get hit by weird shit all the time. Way of the Squeezins. Buffs tend to last a really long time, like 90 turns or something, depending on the item. Like quite a few minutes. It's 10 seconds per, so that would mean like 6 minutes of the drunk debuff. Plus then you can just pop more alcohol. So essentially, if you can keep it up all the time, you'll be doing 30% more damage because you're still losing the minus 20. I would consider this one on pretty much everyone except the sniper. The only downfall is you could probably only afford 1, maybe 2 people with this, because you need to always have alcohol on the go. And if you're not gonna have it, you're gonna be doing less damage. Because really you want that extra damage. Like maybe your explosive class, you take a sip of alcohol, and then you do more damage, and then you just throw a rocket in or a grenade or whatever. Those could be a lot more potent from that. So look at these, figure out what you want, figure out what works for you, but do pick one, even if it's just anything that has barely any downfall to it. Some are better than others. In worst case, you find gold nuggets and you just lose out a quick slot that is meaningless. Hopefully that's been helpful. I'm gonna check out what I can give you maybe for tips for classes, but I want to play another run of, I want to play my first run of Supreme Jerk and see if these tips will hold out and if I can come up with new tips for you. Cheers everyone, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video, and we'll be streaming Supreme Jerk tonight. Peace everyone.